Next thing we're going to do, now that we have the tail secured firmly on the boom, we are going to open up this bag, number 600 NT2LA, which has right here the stabilizer mount. So there's some hardware there. The hardware is going to help screw the tail boom supports, and you may have noticed that earlier there's also this little brace left over, and this is to hold the tail boom supports in the frame. What we're going to do is put that in here, and then the tail boom support rods go all the way up here, and the tail pitch the tail control guide. Yeah, here we go, tail control guide. Just want to make sure I got the official name out of the manual so it's not confusing. There's going to be one on one side and one on the other side of the stabilizer mount right here. So I'm going to take this apart, put it here, and put the stabilizer on top of it, and the letters are going to be facing up, and on the manual it has the extended part facing forward towards the front of the helicopter, so the letters are something you can see from the back. Put this in here, put this on top, and then we're going to put this tail boom stabilizer, and then we'll come back and review once we've got those all put together. Don't forget the thread lock. Okay, we're just going to do a quick little review where we're at. I put the tail boom supports on here. Again, when you look here, you'll see this little frame brace right here, and make sure you use these specialty washers, you know, these nice little bling washers here. Same thing on the end of the tail. First we got the tail boom support screwed in. We just had this little stabilizer mount just loosely screwed in on the top, and again, make sure you use the bling specialty washers right here. So I got the sides screwed in nice and tight, and on the bottom, and then I put the top parts in last. Also, what I did, measured out a nice little 90-degree setup here on the tail servo. Simple, just kind of moved it around and it worked out perfectly without sub trim. Measured out this little ball linkage rod to what it said in the manual. I think it was 187. I had to kind of add up two numbers with my calipers, but made sure, you know, it basically had this control arm at mid-level, and remember this is the small ball link right here, and at the 90-degree that it was at the mid-level. So this is ready to go. Now I'm going to get the other really long ball linkage rod for the tail and try to get it on this back here, which looks like it's going to be a bit of a pain to get in here. I could probably get the ball link pliers in this little hole here in the frame. Try to get it in there to get the ball link on, try to hold it up. Once we get it in there, you know, we're just going to try to measure it and try to get it to where we're at the mid point right here on the tail. The tail pitch slider gives a little bit of angle on the tail fin, but I think we want that. So we want to try to measure it so it's mid-stick on the tail. And then once we do that, we'll put on the gyro and get that stuff all set up and ready to go, and then the head, and we're getting a little closer to the finish line here. Okay, just to review where we're at now, I set up the whole entire tail servo Made sure this whole arm was exactly how it was supposed to be. I ended up going with the Spartan Cork gyro. If you would need to know how to set up a Spartan Cork or an Align gyro, you can see my channel. I've got those two and a Curtis Youngblood how to. But basically, you know, got this whole thing set up right here, the whole tail control rod. Like I said earlier, went in this little hole right here to get this ball link on here. Had to come in and look from this side to get it in place. And if you did it that way, it really wasn't too bad. Got your tail support rods in place. Like it says in the manual, we put a little piece of zip tie in there, and in order to get the zip tie to go in, I had to use a pair of needle nose pliers, push it in nice and tight, and then I always cut it off and put a little glue in there to hold it in place. Same with the one back here. It came a little bit behind the stabilizer. So next thing I'm going to do is just put the tail blades on. We're good at this point. The gyro's set up, and I've got the endpoints programmed and the directions and everything. Again, check my channel if you need help setting up a gyro, or send any questions on my channel. I think the next thing I'm going to do, I've already kind of worked the servo wires towards the front. What I've been doing, I put a piece of electrical tape on the spot where I'm going to be using zip tie. So I put electrical tape on it, run the zip tie through where there's two holes, just use the end of the zip tie, and what I do is just kind of clamp it down, kind of squeeze it, and then I will use my needle nose pliers to get the end of it nice and tight. And then when you push it in one of the holes, then pull it back out. Usually you can line it up so that you get the piece of zip tie to come out, and then you can zip tie this. So also another thing to watch out is this elevator servo kind of got in the place of where the wire was coming out of, or this aileron arm almost kind of touched the elevator servo, so I wrapped this back here, put some nice adhesive tape back there, ran the wire behind, and then ran that forward. So we're going to finish up with the rest of the electrical connection. I've got to get this governor set up here and then get all the electronics set up here in the front, and I'll come back and review once we've got that stuff all organized and set up, and then we'll put the head on and check all of that. Okay, quick rundown here of what I did with the wires. Ran the elevator wire here to the front. Make sure you watch out for this aileron arm, and ran it all the way here. The sensor for the governor ran it underneath this aileron servo. Bunched everything to the front. Make sure it doesn't make any contact with the motor here. You want to push all these wires forward. I ended up clamping some of them down here on the side. I put these extra frame supports here on the side. You can do that if you want. And then there's these ones in the back. That's up to you. Could add some extra support. Also add some weight. I got my governor on one side, 2 and 1 on the bottom here. That way I can reach the battery here nice and easy. The glow plug power can go in here right away. I got the battery over here and the receiver up on the top. And then use the supplied straps to get everything strapped down nice and tight. And everything's nice and clean. I got the 2 and 1, the regulator and the glow igniter right here on the left side. And everything is nice and clean the way it should be. That's just the way we like it. Then we'll move on putting the head on and finish her up. Okay, this time I'm going to put together all of the tubing. My header tank came in. I've got a nice little quick UK header tank. We're going to try to line it up as centered with the hole here as possible once we set it up. I'll figure out how I'm going to do that here. I actually bought some of the mounting hardware that you can buy separately, so I'll mount that on there, get all the tubing lined. I've got some aftermarket tubing that I'm going to be using. But basically what you want to do is the pressure is going to be coming from the muffler. The Funtech muffler I've got has a little screw that allows for the pressure. There's a little pressure output, and that goes into the main tank, and then the main tank is going to flow into the header tank, and then from the header tank we're going to have a filter, and then after the filter, the T filter, it's going to go into the carburetor right here, and then that should be all set. Going to make sure we put our shut-off valves and everything. This is basically the layout. Muffler, pressure comes out, goes into the main tank comes out into the header tank, goes through the filter. This is where we're going to end up filling. We plug this side towards the carburetor and then fill the fuel in that way. We're going to put little clunk weights inside both these tanks. The kit comes with some clunk weights. There's some separate clunk weights for the header tank, and what I am going to use is a bubbleless clunk, which I can't find right now. Okay, the bubbleless clunk right here from OS, it's got, I don't know, some little beads on the end. Supposedly it helps work a little bit better, so hopefully with the header tank, bubbleless clunk, and all this stuff set, I won't have to worry about flame outs or running out of fuel when I go in any position. We're going to try to make sure we cut the tube so that, you know, it can go into the corner, but that it won't, you know, get stuck in any corner. So cut it about, you know, this long, and put the clunk in there, and it'll follow the fuel around. And then the header tank, do the same thing, and run it the way we showed in the diagram, and then we'll come and update or do a little review.